right, 8th grade, I'm back and I'm in the same outfit because I'm doing this on the same day, even though you are doing the work on a different day. So don't think I just wear the same outfit every day during quarantine. It's really important that you change your clothes and that you're like getting up and moving. And I really like to get out of my pajamas to make myself feel productive. So make sure you're taking care of yourself in whatever way possible. Got a couple, or maybe just one fun story to start us off. That last video that I did on number of solutions, I filmed with my camera like turned backwards because I thought that when you filmed like with a selfie that it would flip, but then I filmed a selfie video and realized that it like flipped the image for you. So long story short, I am still figuring out YouTube and how this new like the blogger version of myself works. So hang in there with me. Hope you could like see everything okay, but we're gonna go ahead and jump in with our lesson for day 3. Oh, one more thing before I get started. So I have these blinds in my kitchen that are kind of like the blinds that we have in our classrooms where like you pull them up, but mine like you push up like this. So like you can see this one, you like can push up like this. And I had to just spend like so much time trying to get like the perfect lighting in here. Like one of them is all the way up, one of them is like halfway up, one of them is all the way down. This one's kind of like 3/4 of the way. So I felt like, you know, when everybody's like raising their hand, like the sun's in my eyes in the classroom, I kind of felt like that this morning, even though I was just doing it for myself and for this video. So there are still small things that remind me of you all and of school every single day, even though we're at home. With that, gonna jump in. We're gonna be talking this afternoon about finding the solution to a system of equations. And so I wanna get something straight before we jump in, just specifically about systems of equations. When you see a system of equation, you're gonna see a set of 2 or more equations. And in 8th grade, you're only gonna see 2 at a time. And when we have our 2 equations, we have 2 variables in those equations. And usually it's going to be x and y, but sometimes it might be different variables that represent different things like in word problems and things like that. And so when we look for those variables, we need to try and find both of our variables. So we're not just looking for x, we're not just looking for y, we're looking for both. And then that solution is going to be that coordinate point. Now, one piece of information about the solution. You saw on Ms. Nielsen's lesson yesterday that when 2 lines intersect, there's a solution point in the middle of those 2 lines. Now we're going to be looking today at what happens when we see that in an equation. When a solution is plugged into an equation, it has to make both of those equations true. So if we went back and plugged in our answer, it should work or like balance the equation out for both of those equations. So just wanted to remind you and kind of refresh your memory on what those things are before we jump in. So now we're going to jump in with our problem. Again, you can find this in the example section of your packet. So here we've got, and I hope you can see this, we've got our, for me it looks backwards right now. See, this is why I'm really struggling with videos and things. So we've got y is equal to negative 8x plus 4 and y is equal to negative 5x minus 2. So the very first thing that we're going to do is try and decide what method we're going to use. And here I see that I've got y is equal to. Now, if I know that y is equal to something, that means I know the value of y. And if I know the value of y, then I can use substitution. So I'm going to use substitution to solve this. I see that y is equal to negative 8x plus 4. And because y is equal to that, I can plug that in for any y variable that I see in my system. So in my second equation, I see that I've got y on the left side of my equal sign. So I'm going to plug in 8x plus 4 there. So I'm going to write negative 8x plus 4 is equal to negative 5x minus 2. So now I've got an equation that I'm going to scoot up a little bit. Now I've got an equation that only has one variable in it, only has the x value. And because it only has the x value, I can solve for x. So now I'm going to use like what I know how to do and solve for my x value. I know that in order to solve for x, all of my x values need to be on one side of the equal sign. So I need to cancel out my x values on either side. I'm going to choose to cancel out this negative 8. This negative 8 is a negative, obviously, and the opposite of a negative is a positive. So I'm going to do plus 8x plus 8x. I'm going to do negative 8 plus 8. Those things cancel out. All I'm left with on this side is 4 is equal to negative 5 plus 8, 3x minus 2. So now I'm just going to solve for x. I've got a two-step equation here. So I'm just going to do the opposite of this 2. This 2 is negative, so the opposite would be plus 2. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other, plus 2. I know negative 2 plus 2 cancels out. I've got 4 plus 2 is 6. So now I've got 6 is equal to, and remember, I'm going to keep this equal sign all the way down so that I can see what's on either side of the equal sign. And then I'm going to bring down that 3x. So now I'm down to one final step in order to solve for x. In order to cancel out this 3 times x, I have to do the opposite operation. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm dividing by 3. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation, divided by 3. I've got 2 is equal to x. So if you remembered at the beginning of this video, I started talking about what we're actually looking for when we're solving for a system. If I just have 2 is equal to x, that's not all of my solution. My solution has to be my x value and my y value. So now I'm going to figure out how to find my y value. So now that I know that 2 is equal to x, I can essentially do the same exact thing that I did at the beginning and substitute in for my variable. But instead of substituting in for y this time, I know what x is equal to. So I'm going to pick either equation. I'm just going to pick the top one. I've got y is equal to, let me make sure this is the one that, yep, negative 8x plus 4. And now I know that x is equal to 2. So I've got y is equal to negative 8 times 2 plus 4. I know negative 8 times 2 is, that means y is equal to negative 16 plus 4. And then I'm going to do my integer rules here. I've got a negative 16 and a positive 4. If I have negative 16 and positive 4, that means I'm starting at negative 16 on the number line and I'm moving to the right. So if I'm at negative 16 and I'm moving 4 to the right, I'm getting closer to 0. If I'm getting closer to 0, that number is increasing. So that's going to be y is equal to negative 12. What you also might do with negative 16 plus 4 is find the difference between those numbers. 16 minus 4 is 12. And then take the sign of the number with the larger absolute value, which is the 16. So you would get negative 12 as well there. I always like to use a number line because I think that it makes a little bit more sense to me. With that, now we've got, I'm going to erase my number line. We've got x is equal to 2 and y is equal to negative 12. So I can write my final solution as a coordinate point, and that is 2, negative 12. Hope that was helpful. Hope that you can access the rest of your packet with that information. I think you're going to kill it. So make sure that you're doing that and getting those exit ticket problems done as well. Can't wait to hear from you all soon. Have a good rest of your day. Bye, guys.